The Jordan River or River Jordan, Arabic, Nahr al-Urdun, Hebrew, Inhar Hayarden, also known as Nahr al-Shariat, Arabic, is a 251 kilometers long, 156 miles, river in the Levant that flows roughly north to south through the Sea of Galilee and drains to the Dead Sea. The river passes by or through Jordan, Syria, Israel, and the Palestinian territories. Jordan and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights border the river to the east, while Israel and the Israeli-occupied West Bank lie to its west. Both Jordan and the West Bank derive their names in relation to the river. The river holds major significance in Judaism and Christianity. According to the Bible, the Israelites crossed it into the Promised Land and Jesus of Nazareth was baptized by John the Baptist in it. Several hypotheses for the origin of most of the river's names in modern languages, e.g., Jordan, Yarden, Urdun. One is that it comes from Semitic yard, on, flow down, less than square root reflecting the river's declivity, possibly appearing also in other river names in the region such as Yarkon and Yarmouk, or it may be related to the Egyptian loanword, Yor, big river, the Nile. According to this hypothesis, Den might be linked to the Akkadian word Danim for powerful. Cognates of the word are found in Aramaic, Hebrew, Mandaic, and other Semitic languages. The first recorded use of the name appears as Yarden in PalestineA, an ancient Egyptian papyrus that probably dates to the time of Ramesses II. Early Arab chronicles referred to the river as Al-Urdun. In Mandaic, the etymologically related term Yardina, classical Mandaic, can refer not only to the Jordan River, but also any other body of flowing water that can be used for Mandean baptismal rituals, Masbuta. After the Crusades, the Arabic name Nahr al-Shariat, Arabic, literally, the watering place, began to be used, and was recorded by medieval geographers such as Abu Fida and al-Dimashqi. The name was shown in various forms on most notable 19th century maps of the region and is described by Edward Robinson in his Biblical Researches in Palestine. Although historical sources do not appear to make this distinction, it is described in some modern sources as the name for the part of the river before it flows into the Sea of Galilee. The Dan and Hasbani rivers merge near the Kibbutz Sde Nehemiah in northern Israel and become the Jordan River. The Hasbani, Arabic, Hasbani, Hebrew, either Snir or Hatzbani, is a stream which flows from the northwestern foot of Mount Hermon in Lebanon, with a flow of 118 million cubic meters annually. The Eon, Hebrew, Eon, Arabic name, Ajun stream, but Dardara for the uppermost course and Barokath, or Beragith for the rest of its course, is a stream which flows from Merj, Iron area in southern Lebanon into the Hasbani. The Dan, Arabic, Ledan or Liddan, Hebrew, Dan, is the largest among the Jordan's upper course tributaries with circa 240,252 million cubic meters per year. The Benayas, Arabic, Benayas, Hebrew, either Benayas or Hermon, is a stream arising from a spring at Benayas at the foot of Mount Hermon, with a flow of 106 million cubic meters annually. It flows into the Dan along with the Nahal Sin or Nahal Asl, Hebrew, Wadi el Asl or Asl, Arabic. The Jordan River has an upper course from its sources to the Sea of Galilee, via the Bethsaida Valley, and a lower course south of the Sea of Galilee down to the Dead Sea. In traditional terminology, the upper course, or most of it, is commonly referred to as passing through the Hula Valley as opposed to Upper Jordan Valley. The Sea of Galilee through which the river passes is a separate entity, and the term Jordan Valley is reserved for the lower course. Over its upper course, fed by the Hasbani River, Benayas River, Dan River, and the Eon stream, the river drops rapidly in a 75 kilometers, 47 miles, run to the once large and swampy Lake Hula, which is slightly above sea level. Exiting the now much diminished lake, it goes through an even steeper drop over the 25 kilometers, 16 miles, down to the Sea of Galilee, which it enters at its northern end. The Jordan deposits much of the silt it is carrying within the lake, which it leaves again near its southern tip at Degania Dam. Its section north of the Sea of Galilee is within the boundaries of Israel and forms the western boundary of the Golan Heights. South of the lake, it forms the border between the Kingdom of Jordan, to the east, and Israel, to the west. South of the Sea of Galilee, the river is situated about 210 meters below sea level. The last 120 kilometers long, 75 miles, section follows what is commonly termed the Jordan Valley, which has less gradient. The total drop is another 210 meters, so that the river meanders before entering the Dead Sea, a terminal lake about 422 meters below sea level with no outlet. The river is fed by two major tributaries, the Yarmouk and Zarqa. The Yarmouk, the largest tributary of the lower course, forms the border between Syria and Jordan and then Jordan and Israel. Smaller tributaries or side wadis, side streams, in this segment are north to south. 1. From the east, 6 to 10 in total. Wadi al-Arab, Wadi Ziklab, Wadi al-Yabas, Wadi Kafrania or Kufranjar passing near Ailon, Wadi Raji, the last before Wadi Zarqa, Wadi Nimran. 2. From the west, Nahal Yavnal, Nahal Tavor, Tabor Stream, Nahal Yisaka, Nahal Harad, Nahal Bezek, on the border between Israel and the West Bank, between Mount Gilboa and the Samaria Mountains, Wadi El Mala from the Samaria Mountains, Wadi al-Far coming from the Nablus area, Wadi Auja, Arabic, or Nahal Yitav, Hebrew, Wadi Kelt coming down from the Judean mountains and passing through Jericho. In the 19th century, the River Jordan and the Dead Sea were explored by boat primarily by Christopher Costigan in 1835, Thomas Howard Molyneux in 1847, William Francis Lynch in 1848, and John MacGregor in 1869. The full text of W. F. Lynch's 1849 book Narrative of the United States Expedition to the River Jordan and the Dead Sea is available online. In 1964, Israel began operating a pumping station that diverts water from the Sea of Galilee to the national water carrier. Also in 1964, Jordan constructed a channel that diverted water from the Yarmouk to the East Ghor Canal. Syria has also built reservoirs that catch the Yarmouk's waters. Environmentalists blame Israel, Jordan and Syria for extensive damage to the Jordan River ecosystem. The Jordan River Basin has a unique ichthyofauna as it serves as the meeting point for several different biogeographic regions, including the northern Palearctic, the Afrotropics, East and South Asia, and the Mediterranean. Native fish include cyprinids such as the Jordan bream, Acanthobrama lisneri, Jordan himri, Charasobarbus canis, Jordan barbel, Luciobarbus longiceps, Levantine scraper, Capuata damascena, the most common native fish in the basin. Red garra, Garra rufa, and Damascus garra, Garra nana, hillstream loaches such as the Palestine loach, Oxoniomacalus insignis, catfish such as the African sharp-toothed catfish, Clarias garipinus, cichlids such as the blue tilapia, Aureochromis aureus, red-belly tilapia, Coptodon zilli, and mango tilapia, Cerotherodon galileus, and blennies such as the freshwater blenny, Salariopsis fluviatilis. The Jordan bream and Jordan barbel are thought to be endemic to the Jordan River Basin. The Jordan Basin may have also served as the center of diversification for several now widespread Palearctic fish groups. A native freshwater reptile is the Balkan terrapin, Moramis rivulata, which is thought to have also been a food source for the earliest Neanderthal residents of the region. Several introduced species of fish are known from the region, including common carp, Cyprinus carpio, grass carp, C. tenopharyngidon idella, black carp, Hypothalamichthys moletrix, rainbow trout, Oncorhynchus mycis, Nile tilapia, Aureochromis niloticus, and sea mullet, Muggle cephalus. Many of these introduced fish either prey on or outcompete native fish and threaten their populations, especially the more endangered species. In modern times, up to 95% of the water is diverted for human purposes, and the flow is less than 10% of the past average. Because of this and the high evaporation rate of the Dead Sea, as well as industrial extraction of salts through evaporation ponds, the Dead Sea is rapidly shrinking. The flow rate of the Jordan River once was 1.3 billion cubic meters per year. As of 2010, just 20 to 30 million cubic meters per year flow into the Dead Sea. A small section of the northernmost portion of the lower Jordan, the first ca. 3 kilometers, 1.9 miles, below the Sea of Galilee, has been kept pristine for baptism and local tourism. Most polluted is the 100 kilometers downstream stretch, a meandering stream from above the confluence with the Yarmouk to the Dead Sea. Environmentalists say the practice of letting sewage and brackish water flow into the river has almost destroyed its ecosystem. Rescuing the Jordan could take decades, according to environmentalists. In 2007, PalestineA named the Jordan River as one of the world's 100 most endangered ecological sites, due in part to lack of cooperation between Israel and neighboring Arab states. Route 90, part of which is named after Rehavam Zeevi, connects the northern and southern tips of the Israeli-occupied West Bank and parallels the Jordan River on the western side. There are two border crossings between Israel and Jordan which cross the river over bridges. The northern one, Jordan River Crossing or Sheikh Hussein Bridge, is near Beit Shean. The southern one, Allenby Bridge, also King Hussein Bridge, is near Jericho. North to south. 1. Daughters of Jacob Bridge, Hebrew, Gesher Benot Yaakov, Daughters of Jacob Bridge, is the most famous one within Israel. 2. Arik Bridge at the northern end of the Sea of Galilee, allows access to the central Golan Heights, was crucial in the 1967 and 1973 wars. 3. Al Sanabra, at the spot where the river used to exit the Sea of Galilee in the past, few remains excavated by archaeologists. 4. Jizr el Majami, north of Beit Shean, basin, closed. 5. Damia or Adam Bridge, halfway between Jericho and Beit Shean, closed. 6. King Abdullah Bridge south of the Allenby Bridge, closed. Until the first decade of the 21st century, the waters of the Jordan River had been the largest water resource for Israel. Lately, desalinated seawater from the Mediterranean has taken over this role. Israel's national water carrier, completed in 1964, has delivered water from the Sea of Galilee to the Israeli coastal plain for over 4 decades, until prolonged drought led to abandoning this solution in favor of desalination. Jordan receives 50 million cubic meters, 1.8 times 109 cubic feet, of water from the river, a quantity which is regulated by the 1994 peace treaty with Israel. In the past, one of the main water resources in Jordan was the Jordan River, with a flow of 1.3 billion meters 3 per year, BCM, year. However, after Israel built the national water carrier in 1953 and diverted water from the Sea of Galilee to Israel's coastal plains and southern desert, the flow of the lower Jordan River dropped significantly. The 50 mcm per year that Israel provides from the Sea of Galilee as part of the 1994 peace treaty was meant to compensate for this loss. A 2010 study found that the lower Jordan River has been reduced to 2% of its historic flow. Water quality has also deteriorated sharply, with high levels of salinity and pollution from agricultural fertilizer and untreated wastewater upstream in Israel and the West Bank. Conflict about the waters of the Jordan River was a contributing factor to the Six-Day War when, starting in 1965, Syria attempted to divert some of its headwaters in collaboration with Lebanon and Jordan. The diversion works would have reduced the water availability for Israel's carrier by about 35%, and Israel's overall water supply by about 11%. In the Hebrew Bible, the Jordan is referred to as the source of fertility of a large plain, Kikar ha-Yarden, said to be watered like the garden of the Lord, Genesis chapter 13 verse 10. There is no regular description of the Jordan in the Bible, only scattered and indefinite references to it are given. Jacob crossed it and its tributary, the Jabbok, the modern Zarqa River, on his way back from Haran, Genesis chapter 32 verses 11, 32, 23-24. It is noted as the line of demarcation between the 2 tribes and the half-tribe, settled to the east, Numbers chapter 34 verse 15, and the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh, that settled to the west, Joshua chapter 13 verse 7, Passam. Opposite Jericho, it is called the Jordan of Jericho, Numbers chapter 34 verse 15, 35-1. Jordan has a number of fords, and one of them is famous as the place where many Ephraimites were slain by Jephthah, Judges chapter 12 verses 5-6. It seems that these are the same fords mentioned as being near Beth-barah, where Gideon lay in wait for the Midianites, Judges chapter 7 verse 24. In the plain of the Jordan, between Succoth and Zarthan, is the clay ground where Solomon had his bronze foundries, 1 Kings chapter 7 verse 46. In 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 1-4, the Jordan Valley is portrayed as a woodland region. Biblical commentator Albert Barnes suggests that trees were rare in most parts of Palestine, but plentiful in the Jordan Valley. In biblical history, the Jordan appears as the scene of several miracles, the first taking place when the Jordan, near Jericho, was crossed by the Israelites under Joshua, Joshua chapter 3 verse 15-17. Later the 2 tribes and the half-tribe that settled east of the Jordan built a large altar on its banks as a witness between them and the other tribes, Joshua chapter 22 verses 10, 22, 26, a. The Jordan was crossed by Elijah and Elisha on dry ground, 2 Kings chapter 2 verses 8, 14. Elisha performed 2 miracles at the Jordan. He healed Naaman's leprosy by having him bathe in its waters, 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 14, and he made an axe head lost by one of the children of the prophets float, by throwing a piece of wood into the water, 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 6. The New Testament states that John the Baptist baptized unto repentance in the Jordan, Matthew chapter 3 verses 5-6, Mark 1-5, Luke chapter 3 verse 3, John 1:28. These acts of baptism are also reported as having taken place at Beth-barah, John chapter 1 verse 28. Jesus came to be baptized by him there, Matthew chapter 3 verse 13, Mark chapter 1 verse 9, Luke chapter 3 verses 21, 4, 1. The Jordan is also where John the Baptist bore the record of Jesus as the Son of God and Lamb of God, John chapter 1 verses 29-36. The prophecy of Isaiah regarding the Messiah which names the Jordan, Isaiah chapter 9 verse 1-2, is reported in Matthew chapter 4 verse 15. The New Testament speaks several times about Jesus crossing the Jordan during his ministry, Matthew chapter 19 verse 1, Mark chapter 10 verse 1, and of believers crossing the Jordan to come hear him preach and to be healed of their diseases, Matthew chapter 4 verse 25, Mark chapter 3 verses 7-8. When his enemies sought to capture him, Jesus took refuge at the river in the place John had first baptized, John chapter 10 verses 39-40. Scholars have concluded that the site called Al-Mortars on the east side has long been considered the location for the baptism of Jesus and a place of pilgrimage. This has led to choosing Al-Mortars as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2015. Because, according to Jewish tradition, the Israelites made a difficult and hazardous journey from slavery in Egypt to freedom in the Promised Land, the Jordan can refer to freedom. The actual crossing is the final step of the journey, which is then complete. Among many other references, the Jordan River is given this meaning in the text of Old Man River: let me go way from the Mississippi, let me go way from the white man boss, show me that stream called the River Jordan, that's the old stream that I long to cross. Because of the baptism of Jesus, water from the Jordan is employed for the christening of heirs and princes in several Christian royal houses, such as the cases of Prince George of Wales, Simeon of Bulgaria and James Ogilvy. Earlier, on the 15th of May 1717, the Empress Maria Theresa was baptized in Vienna by the papal nuntius Giorgio Spinola, representing Pope Clement XI, with baptismal water containing a few drops from the River Jordan. The Jordan is a frequent symbol in folk, gospel, and spiritual music, and in poetic and literary works. The baptism of Jesus is referred to in a hymn by the reformer Martin Luther, Christ unser Herr zum Jordan kam, 1541, based for a cantata by Johann Sebastian Bach, Christ unser Herr zum Jordan kam, BWV 7, 1724. The Jordan River, due primarily to its rich spiritual importance, has provided inspiration for countless songs, hymns, and stories, including the traditional African American spiritual, folk songs, Michael Row the Boat Ashore, Deep River, and Roll, Jordan, Roll. It is mentioned in the songs, Eve of Destruction, Will You Be There, and The Wayfaring Stranger, and in Old Man River, from the musical Showboat. The Far Side Banks of Jordan, by Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash on June's Grammy Award-winning studio album, Press On, mentions the Jordan River as well as the Promised Land. Jordan River is the subject of roots reggae artist Burning Spear's song of the same title. Belarusian band PalestineA dedicated its whole album, Crossing the Jordan, to the topic.